Hi, I'm Sue Montgomery, and welcome to Dying Talks. In this episode, we're going to talk about adjusting to new normals. Yesterday, I was on a Twitter chat with a caregiving group, and one of the questions was, what were some of the most difficult times for you as a caregiver? And my response was when we had care transitions with my mom, and we had to adjust to a new normal. That was difficult for both of us. You know, as a caregiver, I needed to figure out how I needed to do things differently as her condition changed. And certainly for her, it was very discouraging, at times when she got to the point where she couldn't do the same things that she used to be able to do, or she was challenged with new things. So that's what I want to encourage you about today, because if you are facing end of life, that's going to happen. Your body is going to change. You're going to, as it gets weaker, as your disease process progresses, unless something happens suddenly, that is what's part of what's going to be ahead in your journey ahead. So I just want to prepare you for that, so that, when something changes, I know it can be discouraging. Say you aren't get to the point where you can't drive anymore, and some of you are likely long past that. So that's, a dent in your independence. Or maybe you're at the point where you can't get out of bed and you have to rely more on everybody else to help you with things. That's one of the hardest things, I think, for people, going through end of life, is the increasing need to depend on others. That can be very frustrating. So I just encourage you to um, face those transitions with an undaunted spirit as much as you're able to do that. It's easy for me to say because I'm not in your shoes. But, I watched my dad do that. I watched both my parents do that. But my dad in particular was very active before he died of pulmonary fibrosis. And that, it really changed his life as he transitioned through different new normals. But he would just find new ways to do things that he enjoyed, or find new things to enjoy that, didn't take the same amount of mobility or whatever that he used to have. So anyway, the point is that I want to let you know that that's coming. I think that if we're prepared for that, then we can kind of make a plan. And so make sure that you have enough support, that when you feel that you're, when you're starting to experience some of those changes, that you're letting people know, especially if you live alone, because it's a big time that people fall. And so you want to be careful about that. And we're going to talk about falls in another episode. So be cognizant of the fact that change is ahead, and, approach it gently. If you feel like your body's changing and you can't do something that you used to be able to do, don't just barrel through it, because that's not safe. What you should do is let somebody else know, this is something new that I'm struggling with. Can you help me with figuring out a new plan for how we can do this together, so that I can, be safe and maintain my quality of life and enjoy the next leg of the journey as much as I possibly can. As always, I encourage you to talk to your own healthcare team about your specific needs. Everyone's different. This is just general information. I'm Sue Montgomery. This is Dying Talks. Thanks so much for joining me. God loves you, and so do I.